Hello, everybody. This is the Two Old Bucks, and this is Old Buck Dale. And with me, of course, is the other old buck, and that's Old Buck Dave.
That would be me, Old Dave. Yeah. Hey, good to talk to you again. Good to talk to
So,
you again.
bring everybody up to date. Old Buck Dave is on assignment. He's traveling around doing some work uh, in Europe, and then we're going to get a little update on that now. And
Yeah, I
so,
am on assignment. I thought we'd talk about the Olympics a little bit first, since that's an international thing here. Um, are you
everybody
getting to
pretty
are you
excited
getting to
about that
watch?
over there? I mean, a lot
Um,
of activity around it, a lot of TV coverage or something like that.
oh yeah, there's a lot of TV coverage. It's all German TV though, so
Yeah.
so that's the thing. So it's really geared that way towards the whatever the Germans are competing in. So
Oh.
first
So they
day,
tend to show the country participants and whatever they're
yeah,
in.
which I think is the
Ah,
same thing the U.S. does. I'm sure that's what
yeah,
every country
yeah.
does. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the U.S. coverage, but so the first day I was watching some fencing because Germans had some guys in there that were good in fencing, and it's not really my sport. You know, I can't tell who did what until the light goes on, and each
It
parry and
happens
thrust, whatever.
quickly,
It happens quickly. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
and it's not like Earl Flynn in the
No, no, no,
swashbuckling movies where you.
no. Where they're snapping swords and running back and forth.
Yeah,
No, it's like
yeah,
boom, boom, it's done. Boom, boom,
yeah.
it's done. Yeah. So, and then there was some other game. I don't know what it was called. It's two teams on a court with a goal, and basically one team forms a semicircle around the goalie, and the other team tries to throw this mushy ball into the goal. It can kind of dribble it. It's like pretty boring. I mean, it's like,
What's it?
okay,
That's an actually Olympic sport. That
that's an
I
Olympic
didn't see
sport.
any of
Yeah,
that over
it's
here.
an Olympic sport, and yeah, it's a pretty boring game. But
Sounds
anyway,
like something I could participate
we
in.
that's well, you have to be able to move a little bit though. Tell you what I did like watching though was 3-on-3 women's half court basketball. Did you know that
I
was an Olympic
I
sport?
I did. I didn't until I just happened to catch some of the highlights over here. There's an evening roundup, so to speak,
Okay, yeah.
and even so, if you're not aware of the events that have already been concluded, they'll jump from one to the other. And I ran, there was a segment of that. And I said,
Mhm.
Then I realized they were only playing in half court. I thought they'd run down the other end. I said, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. Then it was,
Yeah, it's just like school ground ball. Yeah, it was
yeah,
great. And I
yeah.
watched Germany play the U.S. Germany won the match. It was fun to watch. So you got 1 point for a basket, and of course beyond the 3 point line, you got 2 points, not three. And of course, 1 point for a foul shot. So they had refs, so they were calling. They've called a couple foul shots, not that many. But yeah, it was kind of fun to watch. It moved right along, and I enjoyed that. Yeah, I got to see some swimming. Swimming, everybody watches swimming, and gymnastics. Got to see some of that. So that was also fun. But
See women's soccer.
women's soccer, I did not see that.
The USA was doing pretty well there. I wonder if German had a women's team. I bet they did.
I'm sure.
Almost
Yeah,
all the countries, I think, are participating in that. I mean, why not?
yeah.
See what
Let's say
happens
we're
there.
back at Klaus and Linda's for a couple days here. We just got back from Berlin. We'll talk about that in a minute. Hey, you know what?
Mhm.
If there was a doggy Olympics, though, and maybe there is a doggy Olympics. I don't know,
There
but
probably is.
Linda and Klaus have a dog. Its name is Ario, Arrio. It's a Rhodesian Ridgeback. There's a one beautiful, smart, well-trained dog. He's really something. He's under 2 years old yet, so he's not fully grown, but he's around 75 pounds now. So in another year, he's going to outweigh Linda because she's tiny. So she works with him every day, every morning, plus long walks through the forest. And it's really fun. It's amazing how she has trained him. He can do like 400 tricks, and it's just amazing. It's fun to watch, and we've become buddies now. he knows I'm not the boss, so he gets away with stuff with me. He can, he clamps his jaws around my arm. He doesn't bite. I mean, he
Yeah.
just, to let me know that, he's the boss right now. I'm not the boss. Yeah. But of course, he won't do that with Linda. Yeah. He's a beautiful dog. I'll put a link to the breed here in the show notes.
Australian. Did you say
No,
Australian?
Rhodesian Ridgeback, African dog.
I say, where's
Bred to,
Rhodesia at anymore?
well, it used to be
A Zimbabwean
Yeah,
Ridgeback.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
So they kept the name. They
the
just kept the name of the breed.
they
Yeah.
kept the name of the breed. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bred to hunt lions.
Yeah, and defensive. They were pretty.
Now they won't fight the lion. The lion will whoop them up pretty bad. But this dog has an incredible nose. Like it can rub a tissue on my hand and then hide it somewhere in the house. And then she says, go find it. And
No
he does
kidding.
every time. Yeah, he's apparently they've got even for a dog, I guess they've got a really good
I mean,
sense of.
that is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing watching this dog. He's a lot of fun. And we rode in the back seat of Linda's car together, so we were cuddled up against each other. It was nice. He gets a little nervous in the car, so I think he was happy that Dave was there with him. Yeah.
Ah. So,
And
so you were going to tell me about your
the trip.
yeah, your trip.
Yeah.
You were in Berlin.
I was in Berlin. Yeah. I think we finished up on Dresden last time. It was a great city, very walkable city, lots of history. Definitely a recommendation to go to Dresden. And of course, when we headed to the train station, uh, we went out of the wrong side of the hotel, so we were off course a bit right away. Now it's really easy to get to the train station, but we made it a little harder than it was. Met a German woman crossing the street, and she said she was going to the train station. She said, just go tag along with me. Turns out she's a ceramic engineer, and she works with refractories. So it was incredible luck. So we geeked out on the walk to the station, talking about refractory metals and that sort of thing. It was kind of fun.
I think that's one of the perks of traveling like that.
It is. That's the kind of
Mhm.
thing that I enjoy is this kind of the
Mhm.
unexpected. Yeah. And I did a good deed for the day also on this train. When we were at the platform, a young woman showed up on crutches and a huge suitcase. She had friends that helped her get there. And of course, they departed. They had another train to catch to go somewhere else. And I said to her, I said, "You're not planning on getting that big old bag up on the train by yourself, are you?" She said, "Oh," I said, "Listen, I'll do it. I'll take care of it for you." And
Oh,
I said, "Yeah,
oh.
yeah." What I didn't realize is their suitcase was packed with lead bars.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But so we got it in. We got into the same compartment with her, and the suitcases had to go up on the high rack. There were two levels of rack, and it had to go up on the high rack. And I said to her, I said, I don't know if I can get it up on that rack. And fortunately, the other person in our little cabin was a German guy, big stocky guy. And he jumped right up and he picked that thing up and put it right up there. So yeah, good. So it was
You're riding in little compartments, sort of thing. That
yeah, it
kind
was
of.
like six seats in a
Oh.
little cabin. Yeah,
Mm.
six chairs. Yeah. We made it to. Oh, she was from Johannesburg, South Africa, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was speaking English. She's been in Germany for a couple of years, so her German was fluent. And she was also speaking what I'm guessing was Zulu, according to if I talk to my friend Dell, he's up on
Yeah, it would have been.
South African
Yeah,
languages.
that would have been the most common,
Hmm. So
wide encompassing name for that
yeah,
Johannesburg dialect.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we made it to the Berlin train station. We're told it's the largest in Europe. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was big. It was big. And we said, let's walk to the hotel. Well, it was a little bit longer than we expected. Now I had Google Maps, and no matter how long I walked, it kept saying it's another 40 minutes. It's another 40 minutes. So
Oh, my soul.
yeah, so it was about, I don't know, it was like 2.5 kilometers, something like that.
And you wheeled your little bag that far to get to the hotel just
Ooh,
to,
yeah, and it was drizzling off and on. So I got to put my rain jacket on a couple times and then take it off. Now it's hot again. Now it's raining again.
see, that's a scenario that I admire you for, because when I think of the something like that happened, I mean, that's like the old legs are giving out about a mile and three
Mm,
quarter, and you're not even to the hotel yet.
yeah,
Yeah, and dragging that little suitcase up. But you
yeah.
never know what you're going to see. So
And we're going
you
down
made it.
through the main thoroughfares here. And as it turns out, that day was the Rainbow Parade in the city.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Rainbow Coalition Parade.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we had all sorts of people all over the streets. It was really a treat. Very festive. Uh, all kind of people costumed up and in feathers and you name it. Somebody was
I
dressed
can
that
picture
way.
it. I can
So yeah,
picture.
yeah. So we made it to our hotel, checked in. Well, actually, they said, well, we can't let you in until 4 o'clock. And it was just about 3 o'clock when we got there, maybe 2:30. We said, okay. So we were hungry anyway. And they pointed us to the nearest restaurant that they said was pretty good. It was closed. Okay. We went around the corner, found another restaurant. It was open. And we're sitting outside there with a bunch of other people. And after a while, a guy came out and he said, "Are you looking to eat food?" I said, "Yeah, that's kind of why we're here. It says restaurant, so that's what we're doing." And he said, "I'm sorry, we ran out of food today. All the parade goers ate up everything we had." Yeah,
That's
but,
interesting.
yeah. But eventually, we found a place. We got I ordered like a mixed grill. It was massive. It was really enough for two people. We got 13,000 steps in that day. That was
Wow.
that was a lot of walking.
Yeah.
It was a lot of walking. Yeah. And the second day, we did the hop on hop off bus, which would it stops like at 25 places around the city. You can get
Mhm.
off,
Yeah.
and another one's there in 15 minutes, sort of thing. So we did that. Jumped off at several places, including the Brandenburg Gate, the Reichstag, Checkpoint Charlie. Saw the old Checkpoint Charlie. A couple
Yeah.
sections of the wall, a couple other spots. Yeah, it was a fun day getting off and on the bus, and the weather was nice, beautiful, mostly beautiful weather here, mid
Well,
70s. It popped up.
I should tell the listeners that I've been included in a little bit of this. I get a photo of this of like Checkpoint Charlie or the Brandenburg Gate or something like
Teasers,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
teasers, yeah.
Yeah. And I can see the weather and so on and so forth. But I was my one comment was you have this vision of what that would have looked like when you
Hmm.
talk about the Berlin Wall or you talk about Checkpoint Charlie. I mean, it doesn't look like that today.
No.
Yeah, you see, you're standing there, and I said, huh, it doesn't look too militaristic as well. I still remember the pictures on the news or something, so I
Yeah,
still have that in my
a
head.
little
I guess
different.
you'd have to be our age to even have that memory. So,
Yeah, 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 that's for
but
sure.
at least you were there. You was in the same spot. You kind of had a
Yeah,
reference of
yeah,
logistically what that was like.
yeah. Then our third day in Berlin, I wanted to go to one or two art museums. So we found one and used my Google Maps to took a subway part way and then transferred to a bus. So mastering the Berlin transportation
Yeah.
system.
Mhm.
So that worked out pretty well. So we walked. So we're walking to the address, and I noticed there was another couple, like 20 steps in front of us, and I'm thinking they're looking for the museum too. So they get to the address. I see him, and he looks in, and I get there, and I look in. It was an apartment building. It was not a museum. So I don't know what happened to the museum. there was a building across the street that looked like it might have been a museum, but it was kind of all boarded up for reconstruction. I don't know if they were resurfacing the front of it. So we didn't get to the museum.
I'm laughing as you say that because I did that one time where I said, "Oh, these folks have got to be going to the same place,"
Yeah.
so I'll follow them. So
Yeah.
they really didn't quite have a clue, and it turns out the place we were looking for was only like 10 feet to the right. So we went left, right? We
Yeah.
walk a quarter mile around, come
Uh,
back on the other side of the street, and you say, "Oh, I could have just went this way." So
yeah.
that's
You
it.
know, there was a woman, I went into a perfume shop next door and asked this woman, I said, we're looking for this museum, and it's a museum with impressionist paintings. And she said, breakfast paintings? What kind of breakfast paintings? I said, no, impressionist. Of course, I mean, no, we're speaking English, so that's
All
not
right.
our first language. But it made me chuckle. But she says, oh, I don't know anything about any museums. She said, but there's a lot of art galleries around here. Just look around. So we did.
So you saw most of the highlights of Berlin
We
that you
saw a
could
lot of
from
stuff.
where you
Yeah.
were at. Yeah.
Yeah, we found this from the hop off bus. They told us about this store called Kadewe, Kadewe. It's the second biggest department store in Europe after Harrods. So
Hmm.
since we didn't go to the museum, my wife said, "Well, we'll have to go to this place instead."
Well, that should have been very interesting, I
It
would
was
think.
kind of big, lots of floors of stuff. I was mostly underwhelmed by that stuff. It's just like, going into Macy's, only a lot bigger in my mind anyway. But on the top floor, maybe the next to the top floor, we found an espresso store. So they've got all these little kind of stores inside this place. Of course, we have an espresso coffee maker,
Uh-huh.
and they had all the different pods laid out there, and they had a price on each pod, and they were basically all 4.70 euros. And I said to the guy, "Is that for one pod? For 4.7 euros?" He said, "Well, it'd be very expensive coffee if it was, wouldn't it?" I
I
says,
was
"Yeah,
thinking
that's
it
what I'm
would be.
thinking." He says, "That's for 10." And that's for 10. Yeah. So I said, "Oh," I said to my wife, I said, "That's a good price." He said, "There were people here from Arizona. They said it was a very good price." He said, "It's half of the US price." And I said, "Yeah, it is. It's half of the US price." So anyway, we bought 40 pods, and he made us some coffees, and we tested a couple more and had a nice chat. It was nice. Turned out to be a nice little experience.
Well, again, that's the adventure uh, I mean, you don't plan for that, but that's the kind of stuff that makes it all worthwhile. This is the memory, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. And then Google helped me find the right subway connection, and we made it back home. Okay. And we decided to go to dinner close by. We thought we'd try the place that was closed the first day. So we got in there, and this place was clearly understaffed. And I got to tell you, the owner was the hardest working man in Berlin. This guy was running everywhere. He's like mixing a drink with one hand and cutting up an onion with the other hand. And it's just amazing. He was just running. So the first thing I ordered it's like a mixed grill thing again. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any. Our delivery guy hasn't shown up, so you can't have that." I said, "Okay." And I said, "How's the chicken?" He says, "Oh, it's very good." They had chickens on a spit, and I could see them there. I said, "Okay, I'll have chicken." He says, "Well, it won't be ready for another 35 minutes." So, okay, I won't have that either. And then, so he recommended the ribs, which were delicious. So, yeah, we had a nice time there.
So the culinary experiences is somewhat different than the ones we have here.
Some of the foods are heavy foods with heavy meals with sausages and things like
Oh,
that. But a lot of it's pretty. Most of it generally you can get very healthy food. It's all good quality. You never go into you can't find a bad restaurant. It seems their standards are just different here.
and so then I assume after that you headed back to where you are now.
Well, no, we were still there. We had some more time there. The next day, I walked to a used bookstore that's run by an American cousin of a neighbor, the neighbor that we dined with in Prague. Okay. So
Jeez.
that was another 45-minute walk there. I was going to take a subway and a bus and all that sort of thing. And I thought, it's a beautiful day. It's like 72 degrees. I'm just going to walk. And it was worth walking. Came across a huge kind of farmer's market along the river. It just went on forever. And it had everything, and I mean everything you could want. They had bolts of fabric there. It was every kind of food you could imagine. It was quite a treat. But so anyway, I found a used bookstore as used English language books. And unfortunately, he wasn't in. He wasn't going to be in for a couple hours, but his partner was there. I had a nice chat with him, and then I bought a book. Yeah, interesting walk through the different neighborhoods with my buddy Google Maps taking care of me.
Google's good. He's
Mr.
very
Google,
he's
he's pretty
everywhere.
good. He's pretty good. Yeah, the one thing that he kept messing up on though is if I would write in the name of my hotel, the Cosmo Hotel, to somewhere, he would always start me out somewhere else that wasn't
Oh,
it wasn't anywhere near Cosmo. But if I put the address in, then everything was fine. But for whatever reason, I don't know if there's another Cosmo Hotel or Hotel Cosmo, but anyway, that was the only glitch I had. Otherwise, it kept me on the on the straight and narrow, I guess. Then the next day, we headed for the train station again. Got a nice zippy subway ride right to the train station. Decided we weren't going to walk this time. I had bought the train tickets in the U.S. and I did not get have assigned seats. The thing said there's no. I thought it said no assigned seats on the train. I thought, okay, it's kind of open seating. So we just sat down at two of the seats. And somebody shows up and says, "Well, that's my seat." And somebody else says, "That's my seat." Like, how do I know? He says, "Well, because I have a reservation." Okay. Oh, okay. So this happened three times. We got bumped into, people with reservations showed up. So I thought, no, this isn't working at all. So I went a couple cars down and I found a conductor and explained the situation to her. And she explained that how to tell if the seat was reserved. She says, yeah, you have a ticket, but it says you didn't reserve a seat. And I said, well, I couldn't find a way to reserve a seat. I thought it was anyway. She said, listen, I'll I'll hold two seats for you. There are two seats at the back of this car that are open together. And she said, you go back and get your stuff and I'll make sure nobody else sits there, which I thought was really nice. So I went back, got my bags, got my wife. Everything was good. We were supposed to change trains in Bitterfeld. So we didn't have, it wasn't a straight shot to Frankfurt. But Klaus, as it turns out, his factory is only like 15 minutes from Bitterfeld. And he was at work that day and he was coming home. He was going to come home to Frankfurt that evening. And he said, look, I'll just pick you up at the station, give you a little factory tour, which he did. Nice shop. They do prototypes there and specials. It's electric motors. They make electric motors, real high efficiency electric motors. And and then he drove us back to Frankfurt. Now, the GPS says it's a 4-hour drive. Klaus Klaus did it in 3 hours. All right. At one point, he hit 300 kilometers per hour. That's 186 miles per hour for you in the U.S. That's the fastest that I ever did on land. It's unbelievable. It's a BM.
Unbelievable is right.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's
What kind of car was he driving?
it's
Mercedes?
a BMW Alpina edition. It's like they take the BMW and then Alpina does all these modifications, struts and all kinds of things. I mean,
Oh, so it had the suspension and everything for that.
yeah, it goes like hell. I mean, it stops on a dime. It corners like a cat. It's amazing. Nobody passed us. Nobody passed us on that highway. When you talk about saying we passed him like he was standing still, these cars were literally like standing still when we passed them, and they were probably going 100 miles an hour. It's amazing.
So it's that straight or that open or that.
Well, there were patches of it that have no speed limits, and there were open stretches where there were no speed limits, and then you'd get to certain areas, and the speed limit would be like 120 kilometers or 100 kilometers. If there was construction or lots of bends and that. I did put a hole in his floor on the passenger side. All the braking I was doing, it was terrible. Oh gosh.
Well, the sensation of that, I mean, you were able to see the things passing by and
It
other
was a
cars.
thrill.
I
It
mean,
was
once
a
it got up to that speed, you definitely sensed the speed. I mean, you know what I mean? Even though
well, I
other
mean, you
traffic might have been going 100 kilometers an hour or something.
yeah, we were just blowing by everybody. And of course, he's clearly an excellent driver. He knew what he was doing. He knew what car he had there, and so it was a treat. It was a treat.
Well, there's a memorable experience for
It
your
was a
trip.
memorable experience.
You're
So,
not going to do that over here, I can tell you right now.
yeah.
So you're back there in Frankfurt now and just chilling for a bit.
We're outside of Frankfurt, and their town is called, there are these towns, and then towns within towns and regions within towns. I think we're called, actually, the little place we're staying is like Rufenstein or like a dog
Hmm.
bark, something, and that's part of Kelkheim, which is part of Königstein. It goes on and on and on. So anyway, I just we're here. I went to the zoo today. There's a zoo 15 minutes away from here. Beautiful zoo, really, really nice. That was a nice time, and ate at the zoo afterwards. Then here we are.
And here we are. Here we
Yeah.
are.
A few more days here, and then off to Sweden and Denmark. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll be standing by for that. In the
In
meantime,
the meantime, what's going on in your world? I forgot about you here.
well, briefly, I left you last week with me working on some outside landscaping lights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking 30 yards of wiring, quite an extensive uh, pattern of lights. And we hooked them up, and they worked for about 3 days, and something shorted out.
Oh,
I am just beside myself about all the connections that we had to make and everything we have to undo to figure that out. A lot of it's buried.
uh,
So that's my my what's causing the lack of sleep. You know what I mean?
oh.
But what I want to do on a more lighter side, on a lighter side, um, I think our listeners probably know what I mean when I say I had an earworm.
An
You know, I have an
earworm. Yeah.
earworm where
Oh, yeah.
yeah, don't
It's
sing
like
it. Don't.
the Candyman, the
Yeah.
Candyman. Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
that kind of thing.
oh, yeah. It makes me crazy. It won't go away.
It won't go away. So the the one that's been sticking in my head is from an old song uh, called "Break My Stride."
Break my
Uh,
stride. Sing a few bars.
by Matthew Wilder. "Break My Stride." It says the lyrics go. Last night I had the craziest dream. I was on my way to China in a little rowboat to find you, but you had to get your laundry clean.
Jeez.
Well, for
Uh,
some reason, it just has had a nice beat. I don't know what made me. I don't know what caused that, but so that stuck in my head for a while. And I
won't go
finally,
away, huh?
yeah, I googled it, looked at it, looked at the words and everything, and uh, it was a one-hit wonder thing at the time.
Okay. Because, yeah, I'd
Yeah,
never
it
heard of
made
that.
yeah, it made up to number I think 5 or 2 or something on the charts one time. But it
Uh-huh.
was the last I ever heard of them. But it just had a nice. It was just something about that.
Uh-huh.
There's another song. There's another song that's more recent. You recall the movie Madagascar, that animated movies about those penguins and the lion and the
Oh,
zoo,
yeah. Yeah.
and when they get to this place, they actually don't. They think they're in Africa, and they land in Madagascar, and they meet the lemurs. Well,
Oh, man.
it's old,
Okay.
but the
Okay.
song is "I like to move it, move it.
Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
I like to move it, move it. I
Hmm.
like to move it, move it." Well, I'm telling you this because I had a problem with my wife.
Get out.
I'm telling you. And I just noticed that it's been happening for years and years.
You just noticed it.
I just I just pinpointed it. Maybe some listeners will understand this. It's a question of when do you leave the house? When do you and your wife agree to leave the house?
Hmm.
You say at 10 after, she says at 25 after. So I often use that song, "I like to move it," Like on the hour, I start. If I'm ready to go at 10 after, I start. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. So
Of course, that gets her going. So she leaves.
well,
She leaves right.
so that's the clue. See, that's I hope she's picking up the vibes from that.
Mm-hmm.
But still, her initial suggestion was 20 after, not 10 after, but 20 after the hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, well, today I'm going to win. Today I'm going to get
You're
out
going to get her
at
out
least
there.
at 11 after or 12 after.
Uh-huh.
So, see, she tends to start moving. She tends to start moving. And then there are several options. One is to be ready to go out the door and decide to change the blouse, or to ready to go out the door, but maybe she needs to go to the bathroom. But the other day, I thought I had won, Dave. And I really, I was doing that fist bump thing as I locked the door.
Uh-huh.
As I locked the door and headed toward the car,
we're
she
out of here.
says,
We're getting
"No,
out of here.
yeah," she says, "I think I need to change these shoes."
You lose. Change the shoes. You lose.
Back to the door, open it all up, and I'm looking at the time. What time do you think we get out at? 20 after.
20 after, of
And
course.
I said, all these years, that scenario plays out all the time.
Doesn't change.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. You just, no matter how much I sing that, how animated I am, I like to move it, move it, move it. I'm going
I feel your pain, buddy.
We just don't get out of the house until she wants to leave, and that's the name of that tune. So I'm still trying. I'll probably work on that forever, but she's basically wearing me down. So if I say 10 after and she wants 20, I know I might as well open up a book or something,
Yeah, that's just what's going to be. That's what's going to be. Yeah. Oh,
so
man.
other than that, and I think everybody should Google that, break my stride, and that'll put an earworm in, and then use my technique of I like to move it, move it. You'll have to listen to that, I guess, to get the rhythm of that. But other than that, the normal things, no doctor's appointments, no other issues there. Just it's hot, stay out of the sun, keep moving.
Okay. Sounds like good advice.
Sounds like good advice.
I'm gonna keep moving here. I'm gonna keep move it.
Try that.
Moving off to Sweden here in a couple of days. Yeah. So let's keep in touch.
That's not by train, is it?
We're flying to Sweden. Yeah, okay. And then we take a train from Sweden to Denmark. Yeah.
Where do you depart from Europe? When you come back,
Frankfurt. Then we'll come back.
All the way back to
Frankfurt. Yeah.
Well, as always, I wish you the very best on that trip. And like I said, drop me a photo every now and then. Give me kind of see how you're making out there, and then all these little side adventures that you didn't plan. I guess that's part of the fun.
That's part of the excitement. Yeah.
All the best to you. And I guess I can say all the best to our listeners, eh?
Hey, you can. Yes.
Hey, big shout out to VV1. I touched base with her, and her vision is coming back, which just is something that's very near and dear to my heart, is vision. And she may have 100% vision in one eye in the next week or so. And wish her all the best. Wish you best traveling. Wish all the listeners stay well. And this is Old Buck Dale saying, talk to you later.
And this is Old Buck Dave saying, I got to move it, move it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.